First things first, I want to show off my t-shirt. This was a gift from a little buddy of mine. His name is Tanner, who should be about 8 years old by now. This is the home team. I think they took a couple of championships. I like this shirt so much, you don't see me wearing it in the garden. So again, thank you, Tanner. I really appreciate it. I was going to try to do the first video of the season out in the garden. But it's winter time. It's cold outside and it's raining. So not too much we can do out there. So I figured it was about time to do a mailbag video. Now, these aren't emails from any particular person. These are from comments on the videos, from emails, and questions that come up on the forum. So, in my head, I tried to put together the most popular ones and some that apply to this time of the year. I've made myself some notes so I don't forget too much stuff. But the first one on the list, not necessarily the most popular, but the first one is about soil testing. Should I test my soil or not? Well, I was born and raised right here on this piece of property. And I know we have some fantastic soil that'll grow just about anything. So I personally really don't feel a need to do any soil testing. But if you've just moved on to a new piece of property or never had a garden before, planted in an area, I would recommend that you do a soil test. Go to your county agent. I'm sure there's a little kit which includes the bags and instructions and all that to fill and send off for testing. Follow those instructions to the letter. It's been a long time since I've done one. I used to do a little row crop farming, and anytime I took a new piece of property over, first thing I do is soil test. So best I can remember, they'll probably advise you to take several samples throughout the plot, and from anywhere from 4 to 6 inches deep, not just scrape off the top of the soil. So follow those instructions. Get the soil in the bag, get it back to your county agent. They'll send it off. There'll be a small fee. Then you'll get your results back. And those results are going to tell you everything you need to know about the condition of that soil. What you have enough of, what you have too much of, what you have not enough of. They'll also do a recommendation on your pH. Make sure you tell them it's to grow a garden. And they'll give you all the information you need to get that soil in top condition. Okay, number 2 on the list. How much fertilizer do I need to apply to grow my vegetables? 888, 13, 13, 13, 17, 17, 17, which means that there's 17% nitrogen, there's 17% phosphorus, and 17% potassium in that bag, which is usually a 40 or 50 pound bag. for most vegetables, rule of thumb, and the rate that I use is 8 pounds of 888 for every 300 square feet of garden. Or if you apply it directly into the row, it's 8 pounds of 888 for every 100 feet of row. Well, I don't use 888, you may say to yourself. I buy 1717. If that's the case, 1717 is about twice as strong as 888. So use half as much. 4 pounds for every 300 square feet, or 4 pounds for every 100 foot of row. At that rate, you're going to be well within the ballpark for just about any vegetable you want to grow. Okay, the third one. Now that we've got our garden all fertilized and tested and ready to roll, when should I start my seedlings for the spring garden? How far in advance before you plan on transplanting should you start your seedlings? Well, for things like tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplant, 8 weeks before your last frost date, or 8 weeks before you plan on planting those seedlings in the garden. Just about everything else is 6 weeks. And that's stuff like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. They grow pretty fast. So 6 weeks is a good point to start before you plan on transplanting them. There's some things that you don't need to start ahead of time. Stuff like corn, peas, beans, greens. Those need to be planted directly in the garden. I mean, you can start them ahead of time if you want. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but it's just not necessary. Anything you can plant or seed directly in the garden, do it that way. You'll come out way ahead. The less you mess with those little plants, the better off you'll be. And that's just my opinion, but I think you'll find that to be true as well. Now here's something else that's going to be very, very helpful. Get online or go to your county agent and get a planting guide for your area, for your zone. They're usually put out by universities who research these things, and that's what they do. Planting guides are just filled with information, good information. They'll tell you when to start your seeds, when to transplant into the garden, when to plant directly in the garden. They'll give you fertilizer recommendations. They'll give you variety recommendations for your area. So a planting guide, every gardener should have one. And this last piece of information that really comes in handy is know your first and last frost dates. In Zone 8, in my area, the average last frost date is around March 15th. Now, that doesn't mean March 16th I can plant. We're talking about averages. You may end up with a frost at the end of March, or your last one might be at the beginning of March. It's just an average last frost date. A good, for instance, is you plant your tomatoes too early, and you get a frost, it's going to kill them. Unless you get out there and start covering them, and that's something I really don't do. I just wait until I'm just about certain that the cold weather is pretty much gone, and my tomatoes will be all right. Before we get to the last one, I want to talk a little bit about the forum that we have. Those of you who've visited the website probably have gone to the forum. And the best way I can describe it, it's like an encyclopedia, except you get more than one opinion. We've got members from all over. I mean, all over the world, really. So if you have a question, you can probably just go at the top and do a search for it and get your answer. But if not, you pose that question, you're going to get information from Canada, Australia, the Carolinas, Virginia, Kentucky, Texas, Louisiana, California. I mean, from everywhere. And if your question is not one that's just cut and dry with pretty much one answer, all this information coming in, you're going to be able to take bits and pieces from each and adapt that to your zone or your area, your conditions. Soil conditions right here is my soil condition is a mix of sand and clay. Lots of areas is pure clay. Some is way too much sand. So you'll get input from just about everywhere, and good information. There's a lot of good gardeners on there, and they're really willing to help. Okay, the last one. I started doing the videos back at the end of 2007. And not long after I started, I got this, it was either a comment, may have been an email, I'm not sure. But I'll need your help answering it. I've yet to be able to come up with an answer. So if you know, or if you have any idea, just put it down in the comment section. What you think it could be. Now the email was pretty much one sentence. And I want you to really think about this now. And I'm going to read the whole thing to you. Here goes. The red one came up, but the green one didn't. Why? Well, I hope this information was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, Lashpa.